gigabit broadband that they're offering in very limited cities. And never did quite make it. I remember the competition. We tried to. We worked on it. We tried to get it. Thanks to SonicNet, I'm okay. Because what do we have here? 20 gigabits? 10, 20 gigabits?
That's not.
We have fiber in here. 10, is it 10 or 20?
10.
10 gigabits symmetric. Frankly, past 4 or 5 gigabits, you don't really notice the difference. But it's really nice to have that kind of speed with it. Thank you, SonicNet, for that. But Google is going to start rolling out wireless, and I think this is kind of key to getting to the next level. Google's realized, as Verizon did, it's very expensive to put fiber. $500 a foot.
Well, I think a lot of the problems with the rollout for a lot of the locations is that they had to have cities that had the right ownership of right-of-way,
Right.
ownership.
It's very hard to do.
Like, so it was there was incredible amounts of red tape and a lot, and obviously the wireless is still challenging because then now you're negotiating is where you put the transmitters.
Right.
So,
But a lot easier.
But a lot easier than
easier.
digging.
They started in Kansas City, then they went to Provo, they're in Austin. But according to a recent Wall Street Journal, it was just a story, it was just it was really expensive. And the company now wants to find a better way, either lease existing networks or go wireless. So they're doing a trial in 24 US cities. Boulder will be the first. So I think that's exciting. That's really good news.
They've been playing with this tech for a while. So.
Is it, now, so I want to ask, is this 5G, we talked about 5G last week, and I got very excited about it.
So if it's like the technology that they tested in San Francisco last year, it actually uses 3 different sets of radios. So you have a lower frequency radio to do the long haul. That's going to transfer massive amounts of data, connect the towers with each other. Then there's like a micro mesh at 433 megahertz that connects blocks. And then you get down to more ISM 2.4.
So it's not Wi-Fi, but it's Wi-Fi like?
It's Wi-Fi, like the last link is Wi-Fi,
Okay.
but
So they have a
connected together.
microwave link at the higher, to the head end, or to whatever the root place is, and then Wi-Fi.
Which works, and the technology was proven to be able to do a very nice mesh. The problem is you're just running into fundamental physics here. There's only so much RF energy you can pump into the air before it becomes saturated. And it's not like a cable where you can saturate that cable and it won't affect anything else. If you start saturating RF bands, it's going to affect everything in the air.
Right.
Well, and also this will have different challenges between cities, because there's a lot of cities that have an RF component that is very complex, like San Francisco being one of them, where there's just, I know when we work with a lot of the
It's
clients,
noisy, or
it's very noisy, there's a lot of traffic already there.
Right.
And so it will work in different levels.
There's also the legal issue, because next to people like Comcast and Verizon, many states have laws against municipal Wi-Fi.
This gets around a lot of that because Google's actually providing,
They're it's commercial
yeah,
operators.
the city is not paying Google to put
Right.
that in.
That's important, and that's
Yeah.
important.
It is.
It's like, hey, you didn't pay us. We're doing this on our own, right? Although the city obviously would love this, right? It's a good thing for a city to have high speed.
And this is all that's left because the FCC just got shut down. They just lost a higher court ruling on municipal fiber networks, which is ridiculous because we're talking about cities where Verizon, AT&T, etc. They don't want to come in. There's not enough there for them to make money. But
Or outlying areas outside of where municipal Wi-Fi is already offered.
Reminds me a little story of a dog in a manger. I remember reading that sometime.
You remember that story, right?
Remember that story? Is that in the Bible, or that's just a story we tell after?
I think that was actually Problem Bible.
That's the one.
There's not going to be any internet access to this meeting, right?
I know you want to tweet.
I'm here,
Yeah,
you're
you're
not.
not. Get out of here.
OMG, the savior of the world is here.
Well, maybe not. Twitter is a honeypot for a-holes, according to BuzzFeed. And then Time Magazine just published a cover story on trolls. I love the story because it said, writing this story is like putting out a pan of baklava for bears. It is not the right thing to do, but sometimes we just have to talk about trolling. This BuzzFeed article we talked about last week really kind of, I think, opened the issues with Twitter. filters,
Yeah.
that's right. So tell me about that.
So it rolled out on iPhone Friday, Thursday or Friday. It makes it easier for you to control your settings. You can also just not see people that you don't follow.
You have to use that in the Twitter, official Twitter app, right?
Yes,
On iOS.
yes. So you can control it so that you don't see any of this stuff.
So what do you say? I don't have it on Android yet. What does the settings say?
I don't think that I updated it yet.
It's-
I don't want to
it's-
use it.
it's
Like,
called
I want
quality
to hear from
filter.
everyone. Like,
It's the quality filter which apparently verified users have had for,
I've had the quality filter.
and it's
Yeah.
rolling out of the
And
quality.
I don't
filter.
use it, because when I turn it on, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I get 3 tweets. It's nothing. I don't know if that's a statement about the quality of Twitter or just, but it does, see, part of my problem is, I want to know if there's abuse and harassment.
Right.
And
Me
I-
too.
At the same time, I like others, I get on Twitter and I feel like my life is going down. I just get depressed. What should I do?
I like to mute people, so the muting, they can continue to yell.
And they don't know.
And they have no idea.
Problem is, it's only muted for you, everybody else is seeing it.
But I mean, most of the accounts, the troll accounts, they have no followers, or they have 14 followers, all of which are their
Our
fans.
fans, yeah, they're soccer.
So they can yell to themselves as much as they want, if it makes them feel better, it's great. I see that as outreach to the
I think this is such a personal thing. Like, everyone has their own experience on Twitter, and my experience is different than other people's experience. I wouldn't say for anyone to not use these, but for me, I just don't experience that much hatred. I don't experience violence or threats or anything like that. And so I want to see when people disagree with me. I want to see.
Yeah, that I want to see, that's the problem, is it's very hard to titrate that. Well, is that abuse or just somebody who says, you're wrong, you're
Right.
full of it?
It doesn't always feel great, but
But I
it's
want to
business,
see that,
right?
yeah, I want to be correct.
Well, I don't think that, and I don't think that the problem with Twitter and the problem with trolling is really us filtering what's coming to us. It is how it's going through the entire ecosystem and affecting. I mean, I guess
When you
everyone's-
Google it, you find it, I mean, it's there.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it is a.
Oh, the world in general.
Yeah, the echo chamber that it builds quickly, and admittedly, you look at Twitter, like if I'm upset, I don't do it on Facebook. So it's funny, there's a different, like on Facebook,
Different tools for
I use
different
Facebook because I'm talking about cool things and I'm doing this stuff, and Twitter, Twitter I also talk about things that I think are cool or things that I want to announce or things that I, whatever. But definitely the place that, as my daughter would say, I think I said this on another show, as my daughter would say, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to Twitter.
There's 7-year-olds in that?
No, my 21-year-old
Oh.
said that.
Yeah, that's not true, though, right?
Like if you're mad, but if you have enough, if you build up enough followers, you do get to a point where you're like, really, you're not gonna give me a seat on that plane. I had a seat on that plane, you just took it away, and then you're like, you tweet, Dear United, and then next thing you
I hate
know,
Twitter.
you're gonna see them. I've done it like
I was
twice.
so tempted to do that.
I've done it twice, and it was like, I had a $60,000 camera, and that they were not gonna let me carry on. I had
Did you
spent
get some satisfaction by tweeting it?
Oh, yeah.
Was it this one? Because I wouldn't let you carry that.
No.
It does look like something dangerous.
You should see it in the X-ray.
Oh,
Well, those little lenses, they all like little springs going back into a center.
That's like,
you
dirty
can-
bomb. Excuse me, sir, is that an atomic bomb or a?
Every time we do carrying those on, and every time you go through TSA, they're like, excuse me, I need to open that. Because they just want to see it. And they're holding like, I've never
What
seen
could
one of
that be?
those, and
I've never
they're,
seen anything like it.
it's, but it doesn't, it doesn't look bad, other than it looks very complex with a whole bunch of things pointed at a center unit, which.
I feel like I need a lightsaber to train.
Put your helmet on, let's see how you do.
Yeah.
Helmet?
Don't we have one of
Okay,
those?
wait. Devil's advocate, because there's gonna be people who listen to any discussion about trolls, Twitter, whatever it might be, and they're gonna say, why not just ignore them? Why not just block them? Why not
Right.
grow thicker skin? So how do you answer that?
Well, so here's the problem. We do a lot of events that have a lot of viewers on things like YouTube and so on and so forth. And what happens is all those trolls basically make the entire comment system useless. It's just completely so.
That's true.
So
It's-
And that's why
YouTube- Yeah.
publications like NPR.
Yeah.
Just turn on your
Getting
comments,
rid of all
right?
their comments.
Yeah.
because it's toxic.
Yeah, and so that and that's why, for instance, we spend a lot of time building tools that let us basically, and we actually learned how the Hosmer stuff that we did, the question and answer
Right.
system,
You created a place where trolls could come just to learn how to
Yeah.
block them.
Well, and Twit turned out to be a great lab.
I'm a pioneer in trolling. In fact, we turned off our comments 10 years ago.
But we learned that there's better ways to do it. I mean, the big thing is that what, and I think YouTube started going down that way, and then everyone got upset. As soon as you know who people are, like when we started the Pixel Core, 10 or 15 years ago, one of the first things we did is everyone has their own photo, everyone has their own name.
There's a lot to be said for
As soon as you do that, suddenly it was like,
People are much nicer.
there was very little, it was always within a tempered level. It's the anonymous nature of it. Now, it doesn't mean the anonymous nature shouldn't exist. You want to be able to have people say what needs to be said anonymously, but on a general process. And I think that we're going to see organizations find ways to tighten, and a lot of it has to do with, if you come back to my channel over and over again, I can start saying, I've decided you're a bad actor. We're not gonna listen to it. So you don't wanna be like, you ignore it. You want, at a channel level, you wanna say, I wanna flag these folks and no one can see them on my channel.
Because it was on this show a couple of weeks ago that Jason Calacanis said that he had heard inside story that Twitter was going to roll out verification for everybody. Right now it's only for celebrities, movers and shakers.
I just got it.
Did you? Congratulations. I think if they rolled it out.
I was told I'm certifiable.
That's what we're working our way up.
And I think if they rolled that out and let everybody verify, not any criterion about who gets to verify, but just make it then reasonably a filter would make sense. Then you can turn on the filter and you say, I only want to see people who are willing to stand behind their comments with their own name. Then that's different.
I just wonder how Twitter has, okay, so, because we've been talking about this whole Twitter troll problem for
Forever.
years.
Since Twitter
And
began.
so obviously it's a long-term, thing that Twitter is grappling with. How did this filter exist and it was really only kept for a very small percentage of people? I understand the application of it for someone who has millions of followers and everything. It might be a little bit better used in that scenario. But when it comes to your users who are exposed to certain action from people, like I feel like any way to be able to control
Would be
that
nice.
would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it took them 1.5 years since the point of creation of this tool to
I mean,
roll out.
That article's about, like, they're just disorganized in a sense, they don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're primarily male, which means they're not experiencing the same kind of harassment. So, yeah, that was what the article said, essentially. But I also just think it's personal, like, I'm not saying I don't block or mute people, I sometimes do, but, it's my choice, and I like having that choice.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that I think there's a lot of sensitivity to also having large numbers of people use your service because they're upset that they don't, even if it was 20 million trolls that left, the newspaper is just gonna say 20 million people or 50 million people have left Twitter. And everyone is so concerned in these social networks of any kind of losing any ground of the number of active users that I can see why they would hide that for a long time and only have those tools to, for certain people because they're afraid of getting the reaction that YouTube got. YouTube decided we're gonna make everybody use their G+ account. It wasn't to push G+ as much as it was to make YouTube more usable. The YouTube community. And so the problem is you also have culture of what people expect you to do, and this is why they joined, and this is, whether you agree to that or not, because you let it go for that long.
There's also a pendulum here, because not all trollish behavior is what we would consider trolling. There's nothing wrong about being a provocateur, about throwing out a question every once in a while to get people talking. That's how you get good
That's
conversation.
what I do.
Yeah, rather than an echo chamber.
Right.
I think
my job to
we made a mistake as a digerati calling it trolling. You call it what it is, it's stalking. You're getting stalked, you're getting bullied.
Well, there's bullying, there's stalking, there's abusive, there's hate, there's a lot of,
Yeah.
and there's as many different kinds of trolling as there are trolls.
And that pendulum's just gonna keep going back and forth. We're gonna get too tight, and then they're gonna, we're gonna loosen it up because we're too restrictive, and then we'll get too loose and go back and forth and back and forth. That's not Twitter, that's not Facebook, that's conversations throughout the history of mankind.
There is a criticism though here of Twitter, and you kind of alluded to it in a way. They've had this for 1.5 years for celebrities.
Mhm.
And Twitter's not any different than Facebook or frankly any other business where celebrities get treated very differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see that not only with the verified profiles and the tools and special privileges of being
Right.
verified, you also see it with their video platform. They're very,
Right.
they have stars, Twitter has
There's a
stars in
special
their eyes. They want to be
Twitter
really
app.
special when it
There's a
comes to
special
celebrity
Twitter-
and
yeah.
entertainment and sports and all this kind of stuff. That's very validating to Twitter as a company.
Twitter and Facebook have apps for celebrities to use that are
Yeah.
better, they don't have ads, they're better than the other apps.
Well, and I think that also, I think Twitter in many ways lost its soul when it decided it was going to suddenly promote, like years ago, you know, when the high,
Suggested user list.
when they started doing the suggested user and they started pushing all these stars, I think that they really lost this groundswell. If you look at YouTube, for instance, YouTube has a whole set of celebrities that the mainstream doesn't even know exist.
You're right, if YouTube had tried to pick winners, it would have failed miserably.
Miserable, you know, because then they're just more of the same. But what YouTube did really well was that they basically just let these stars build up, and they helped build them up. And it's hard when we explain, like, we talk to people about doing their events, and we're doing these live events, and we always go, yeah, so bringing somebody from Hollywood is not particularly useful. Like, just so you know, like if you're doing a live stream, what you want are Twitter
Those are the-
and YouTube
those are the
stars, and really the
stars.
YouTube stars, like that's what's gonna get you
Yeah.
viewers.
Look
You
at
know,
VidCon. VidCon was
Yeah.